Hello there, I am Shudipto and thank you so much for stepping by my website. I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself and my training that I offer. I'm a Microsoft certified application developer in .NET since 2005. Till then, I have been successfully developing many .NET applications for my client, and I've been successfully giving many training to professionals and students. Let me take a moment to introduce exactly what is .NET. Well, it is a technology. It is a technology to write and run wide variety of applications that can run on wide variety of devices and platforms. Now, platforms can be one of the three. It can be web, Windows, or mobile. And most interestingly, you can do all of these by just learning one single programming language, which is C#. C# is really present anywhere. Now, let me tell you, C# is not just the language of .NET. You can be having many different languages of .NET. So let's take a sneak peek. There are a few languages that .NET supports. C# definitely is the most powerful of all of them. Then you have got Visual Basic .NET, which has been ruling the programming system for many ages. Visual Basic .NET can be used to create rapid application development applications. But now you can do everything that you could have done in Visual Basic .NET also by using C#. You have got a functional programming language, we call it F#. And then Microsoft has dragged all those old programming languages like COBOL, Perl, and many more. People just think C# is the only programming language, but it is not really true. There are over 44 languages which are available to program on. Fine. Now, obviously the question comes, what can you do with .NET? Well, you can do many more, as I've told you. You can write web applications. You can write Windows applications that are basically based on desktop-based applications. Now, these are traditionally known as software developing. Like if you see some softwares being run in retail shop, in point of sale applications, so they are all Windows-based applications. They can be used to have a huge attachment with the computer, with the hardware. So this is best suited for something which is greatly connected to a hardware. However, for most of the work these days, for IT related stuff, web application really rules. And now in the world of mobile phones, you can really have mobile apps that can be very useful to your users. So these are the most of the three things that we can normally do with .NET: web, Windows, and mobile. There are many more. I like to list three more categories under this. You can write service applications. Well, what is a service application? A service application is something that runs in the background, which doesn't really show up. So it always runs. It provides some data, some connectivity to the UI based applications. UI means user interface. So the things that you see over there, web, Windows, and mobile, do have some sort of UI. So a service application will be providing some sort of connectivity, some sort of data to web, Windows, and mobile applications. You can be having two distinct categories of service applications as well. The service application that runs on your computer are known as Windows services. You have already seen in your taskbar, if you right click on your taskbar and you go to services, you can find whole lot of services running in your computer's background. However, you can still have web services also. These web services they can be used to connect to remote web, Windows and mobile phones. Beautiful. We can also use .NET to program robots. Wonderful. That is, we can have artificial intelligence and robotic system to be used with robotics application. And then comes to embedded applications, are those applications which has got a mini .NET framework attached to an embedded system. It can be a small device, it can be your wristwatch. So all these attract a very great attention towards learning .NET. Beautiful. Now, among all of these categories, web application has a special significance because of its great audience. Anybody can spin up a browser and can type an URL. So there goes the utility of web applications. Supernova services provide you with very distinctive training in web application. Let me tell you, with .NET, you can be programming in web in two distinct ways. Either you can write web forms applications, which is now a traditional method. Now the more modern way is MVC method. Now this is much cleaner, neater and faster. So web forms are faster to develop, but while at the client's computer, I mean to say that if you really serve a web page being created with traditional web forms application, they won't run as fast as application being made by MVC method. So MVC is having just the necessary stuff so that there can be some sort of browser optimization and things can run pretty fast. And now even MVC can be done using two frameworks. The one framework is a standard .NET framework. It was there for a long time. The standard .NET framework is right there for almost past 20 years of time. However, the standard .NET framework has got a huge binary footprint. So that means you have to be having a big system installed on your web server just to run your MVC applications. Now, a much lighter version of .NET is available, what we call as .NET Core. So if you just use .NET framework, which is core part, it is very fast, and a beauty of .NET Core framework is that it can also be running in non-windowing systems. So that means you can be writing application in .NET and the program, the web server can be running Linux, Mac or Windows. But with standard framework, the web server only have to be Windows. So it is your choice which of these two you want to choose, but most of the things are just the same because it follows MVC. The next thing is that, well, what really takes you to be a professional web developer? I mean to say, what are the things that you must learn or must be having some acquaintances so that you can be a professional web developer in future? These are the few categories of things that you might need to become a professional web developer sooner or later. First of all, yes, you need to be having a good understanding of HTML. Now HTML is what that rules the browser, that has been ruling the browser for many decades. Right from the invention of web, you have HTML. So pretty much you have to be knowing the HTML commands, which are very easy to learn. You can just be going through many websites. I'll strongly recommend you to go through w3schools.com, which is a fantastic website just to learn pretty small web applications like HTML and JavaScript and many more. So HTML is fantastic, right? It has sort of HTML tags, and it is just a tag based system, and anybody can learn HTML. It is very easy to learn, right? And next thing that you'll require is the scripting language. Now scripts are a part of HTML. So if you do not know scripting, do not worry. You can be learning it, but at a minimum you must be having a minimum understanding of HTML. Now JavaScript and jQuery, these two are almost same, just that jQuery is a simplified version of JavaScript. So you definitely should be having some good knowledge of JavaScript and jQuery to be a professional web developer. Next thing is that you must be having good understanding of CSS, because ultimately looks matter, right? CSS is actually the beautification of web. Without CSS, web will just look a very stale, a very plain. So CSS actually brings the web platform live. So CSS is so much of required. But all of these four categories can be considered to some extent as web designing part. The reason is that it is much to the client side. Client side means it is just only limited to browsers. Fantastic. And now let us see the server side stuff. The rest of the three things are basically server side stuff. You will require a solid understanding of C# programming language. However, you can do the same with Visual Basic.NET also. But since diplomatically C# is much better than Visual Basic.NET, I will definitely strongly recommend you to learn C#. C# is simple, fantastic, faster programming language. Now the second thing is that you must be having a very good understanding of object oriented design pattern. Now what is that? Well, you might have heard about object oriented systems. Yes, object oriented design pattern is nothing but implementation of your object oriented learned concepts. There are a lot of patterns getting used these days, like inversion of controls, dependency injection, right, and then singleton design pattern. So these design patterns are almost inevitable. You must be able to understand and learn these concepts just to be able to understand anything in .NET and anything apart from .NET. So that means object oriented design pattern just finds its way just about anywhere. Fantastic. And finally, last but not the least, you must be having a good understanding of database systems, preferably SQL Server or Oracle, so that you can be saving your data in the background. Now, what sort of softwares that you require to learn and understand .NET? The very first thing is that if you like to get to a full stack development on web, mobile, desktop and services and all of these, definitely do install Visual Studio 2017 or 2019. As of this recording, Visual Studio 2019 has just come on the 2nd of April 2019. It is much robust. It has just got many of the things that you used to do earlier. Say for example, you don't have to be learning Angular separately. Angular and Views and Vue.js and many other things are now the part of Visual Studio 2019 directly. You just have to be doing C# and nothing else. Beautiful. However, if you just concentrate on developing web application using the much faster .NET Core framework, then I will definitely recommend you to just go for Visual Studio Code. This is just a lightweight version of Visual Studio, just enough to be running web applications and some sort of service oriented applications. And after this, either of you can have both or either of these two. And then you definitely should be having SQL Server Express 2017 or later. Now that is just a database service that you must install on your computer, and to access that service through some sort of editor, you must require SQL Server Management Studio 2017 or later version. So you'll find a lot of links on the internet how to download them. You can just type these and type download. You'll be getting links. Fantastic. Next, I'd like to introduce to our training. We provide training in 3 distinct categories. 1, classroom training. 2nd, online training, which is most popular. And 3rd, on-site training too. Now classroom training are best for those who can come to an institute and have a one-to-one training directly sitting beside me. We do have weekend sessions also. For those who are working somewhere, let me tell you, we have a fantastic weekend classes also. You just have to be having your appointment, your training schedule, and just come to us and we will be very happy to help you with. The second option is online training. It is definitely good for anyone, but make sure that your internet is stable. I have found many students and professionals, their internet is not that stable. Now when I say stable, I don't mean fast. It may not be that fast, but it should be stable, right? So stable means if you, so for example, if you ping Google, try pinging Google for 100 times or 500 times. If you have a cut in the ping, then you will understand that your internet is not stable. So you must be having a very good stable connection, because we will be using Skype and we can use either TeamViewer or AnyDesk to connect to you. So make sure that if you are really interested to have online training, first of all your internet connection should be a stable one to large extent, and secondly you must be having Skype installed on your system, and you should also be having AnyDesk or TeamViewer running on your system, though the software requirements can change from time to time. But Skype is all that we need for talking to you, right? Wonderful. And the third category is sometimes you can really hire me for having a training at your location, maybe that for some sort of corporate training or for a college training. In that case, you can hire me for a short period of time. It can be for 7 days, 5 days or 2 weeks of time. You can hire me, and that really depends on my availability. So just make sure that you have enough time for it. You just call me before so that I can plan my schedule with my existing candidates and training and can be going live at your place. Now let me talk something about my training methodology. I really don't force anything on you. My focus will be to get on something in real step-by-step way. If you do not understand something, I really step down. I make that easier to understand and then I step up again. So my way of training is little different from many instructors who may be interested in finishing their course and syllabus, but I don't force anything on you. In case if you do not understand something, once again I'm telling you, I'll make sure that point is clear, and if that point is not clear, I'll even step down so that you understand something which is pretty basics, and then I will take you to the next step. So I give plenty of homeworks, and the whole of the training is being taught using practical concepts. While I am in online training or my classroom training or my on-site training, I encourage my candidates to do right at that point. So if I teach you for 10 minutes, I let you to do some work for 15 minutes. So that means I want an output from you. Until you are happy with that, I cannot progress further. So it is just not a constant training, it is just a training with doing. It is a guided training. Now, who needs our training? As I have told you, anybody, students, professionals, IT professionals, or even corporate learners. Now, students who really wants to get to some programming basics like C++, Java, or even C Sharp or Visual Basic, they are completely, they can just feel free to call me. I'll make sure to understand your need and will be helping you just from scratches. If you do have some project, maybe some college project which you have to submit to your college much quickly, and you are just feeling stressed out that how will you be able to finish that work in shorter time, just give me a tinkle. Wonderful. And for professionals who have been doing some sort of programming for past many years and just may want to upgrade from what they have been doing to just to get their feet wet into the world of .NET, just give me a call. I am so much of happy to talk to you for many minutes before you decide to actually join my training. Thank you so much. And finally, anyone can contact me, even if you need my training or you just have a question to ask me. Just I'll be very much happy to answer all your queries and questions. So there is no compulsion that who can call me. Anyone can call me just to have even a friendly talk for some minute. So fantastic. Have a very happy viewing. And just to let you know that my email is supernova.software.solutions@gmail.com, which is also my Skype ID. So you can find me on Skype just by typing supernova.software.solutions@gmail.com. And in case if you want to call me or even WhatsApp me, my mobile number is also my WhatsApp number. In case you just want to say hi in my mobile, feel free to do that. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and have a nice side viewing. In case if you have got any question, feel free to give me a tinkle. Thank you.